Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley. We're here on your Neighborhood Watch, where twice a month with our friends from the Santa Clarita Valley Sheriff Station Crime Prevention Unit, we talk about law enforcement, crime prevention, outreach, and what's going on in our community. And with me today, Deputy Jonathan Wilson from the Canyon Country West Crime Prevention Unit Zone. Deputy Kevin Duxbury from the Stevenson Ranch area. Hello. Representing. And a special guest from the Santa Clarita Valley Domestic Violence Center, Marissa Treviso. I'm sorry. I practiced it too. I practiced it for hours before the show. Marissa Treviso, and you're going to talk about some advocacy and some of the things that are going on at the Santa Clarita Valley Domestic Violence Center and some resources for us. And we want to talk about what's going on in the community. Had some updates real quick. Wanted to let people know there was an outstanding murder suspect that was caught by New York authorities, and he's going to have an extradition hearing today to come back to the Santa Clarita Valley to face some charges for a murder. Michael McLothin was trapped at a New York State turnpike. Is that proper term? Toll booth term? They got him at the turnstile. I'm not from the East.
Sounds good to me.
Justin, you always there for a good laugh, huh? My expense. But yeah, no, they caught him. They coordinated. They figured out where he was. They got him, and he's going to face some murder charges regarding the shooting at Sierra Highway. That happened about 2 weeks ago, and so he's facing murder charges for the death of Ladarian Cook and Ladarian Allen, and the wounding of another woman. So just to update you on that, there was, let's see, what else do we have going on in the community? What do we want to talk about today, Deputy Kevin Duxbury? We have some upcoming events.
We have some upcoming events. Is that what we're going to talk about now?
Let's do it.
All right, then.
What's next?
Talk about first? We got the Polar Plunge coming up this Saturday.
Okay. Now that sounds like a good idea. Castaic Lake?
Good idea. No, not Castaic Lake.
Where?
Actually, it's going to be at Hurricane Harbor.
Oh, Hurricane Harbor?
Magic Mountain, right?
Okay.
And basically, what the Polar Plunge is for a $50 donation. You can go jump in their water and spend a little time at the park, but all the money goes to the Special Olympics. So it's a real big thing, and it's a really neat thing.
And that's one of the partner causes with the Sheriff's Department. You guys do a couple events every year to benefit.
Yes, we sure do.
The Special Olympics, like the torch run.
Mm-hmm.
Right,
yeah,
right on.
Yeah.
So is there a fee involved, or how do
well, you can pay a $50 donation. You can, and with that $50 donation, that all goes to the Special Olympics, and then you get to jump in their big wave pool that they have there. If you don't actually want to jump in, you can register as, and it says right, I'm just saying it the way it says it, you can register as a chicken, and you don't actually have to jump in, but you can just watch everybody else.
You can sponsor me, Jonathan Wilson.
You know, the flyers around work, it shows everyone dressed up as superheroes. Is that?
You can do all kinds of goofy stuff,
Okay.
and I guess that's the fun of it, is people dress up and be silly. I was looking at the website, and there was one where it was Pajama Day, and everybody jumped in wearing sleeper pajamas, with the feeties in them and all that kind of stuff. So
I like it.
This one, a lot of people are dressing up like superheroes, so yeah, it's a good time, and it goes to a great cause.
Jump into 70-degree water.
Yeah, Polar Plunge in June.
It's not quite polar, but still just as refreshing.
it, yeah.
It doesn't change. Doesn't change anything. And again, for a great cause, support the Special Olympics. And another update we want to talk about. You had a couple events going on, didn't you?
Well, the only we have the if you want to call it an event, we got the 4th of July coming up here pretty soon.
Fireworks safety.
Yes, and this is huge. So I'm just going to put this out there right now for everyone to hear. All fireworks are illegal in Santa Clarita. That includes ones that are marked safe and sane.
Yep.
No fireworks are legal in Santa Clarita whatsoever. And for those of you who want to call me on it, you can look up the Health and Safety Code, which is 12677 of the Health and Safety Code.
Throwing the numbers out there. We want to talk a little bit more about that later on the show. And I also want to talk about just what's going on in Canyon Country. We're going to talk about, outreach and what you guys are doing in the Wash,
yes.
and working with the homeless population, try to get them some resources. And we also, again, want to talk about the Domestic Violence Center. We have some upcoming events going on. Yes. So they're going to have a big show, a lot to talk about here. As far as road safety, I want to talk about that because I know that's an issue for you because you're a motorcyclist and you see stuff all the time and you're always talking about that. I would caught you with the news report on this one. You did not know about the legalized lane splitting.
Wow.
You were shocked, huh?
I thought, wow, okay. Or mirror removal, as I like to call it.
It can happen. It can happen. Don't open your doors in traffic. That's part of the trick there. But California is on the road to becoming one of the few states to legalize lane splitting, not spitting, with a recent vote on the Assembly floor. Justin, are you cracking up again? Come on, man. You're we can't hear you when you're talking to the mic, right? Anyways, so the Assembly Bill 51 is heading to the Senate floor after a vote, and it would allow motorcycles to be driven between rows of stopped or moving vehicles in the same lane, including both divided and undivided streets, roads, or highways. Motorcycles are permitted to drive more than 15 miles an hour faster than traffic, up to 50 miles per hour if traffic is stopped, is the law I'm hearing. So, and intentionally blocking them is illegal, according to CHP guidelines. So, thoughts on that, fellas? I'm sure you guys, it's motorcycles, they're not inherently anything, but obviously some safety risks involved if you're lane splitting, I would imagine, right?
You just don't know. People,
You just gotta be careful.
in general, car drivers are not looking in their mirrors for somebody splitting the white lines. When you're bumper-to-bumper traffic and you want to try and get in that next lane because you think it's moving faster, and you see those big cars are stopped, you're just not expecting a motorcycle to come
Right.
flying between the lanes. Personally, I don't do it. I never lane split. It's just not safe. It's dangerous, and it always goes real bad for the biker.
Yeah,
Not
that's
so much
the
the
thing.
person
It's just
changing
like the person in the car is always going to be okay if there's a vehicle versus motorcycle
Just got to be
collision.
aware of the motorcycles,
Right.
If they're going to make a new law, if that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. But, just got to be aware.
Yeah, just like anything else, drive extra defensively.
Got to check your mirrors.
And we want to talk a little bit more about some interesting things that happened as a result of the neighborhood watch that we found out about last week. We'll talk about that more after the break. We come back with a word from your All-American Bail Bonds on your neighborhood watch, brought to you by your hometown station, KHTS AM 1220. Welcome back, Santa Clarita Valley, here on your neighborhood watch, brought to you by All-American Bail Bonds. 3 special guests in the studio with me: Deputy Kevin Duxbury, Deputy Jonathan Wilson, and of course, Marissa Treviso. Nailed
Thank
it.
you. Yes, you did.
From the
Thank
Santa
you.
Clarita Valley Domestic Violence Center. And we were just talking about some of the events that are going on, but I also wanted to talk about a positive story that we had heard about from the community resulting from some work from deputies at an armed standoff. It was last August. And there was a situation in Castaic where a woman who was suffering from mental health problems took a man hostage, stole a gun, took a man hostage, had an armed standoff at Parker Road at the mobile home park with some deputies, and she eventually was taken into custody without incident and watched the show, the neighborhood watch we did the following week. We talked about mental health, and we talked about some of those things and some of the issues that Melissa Bryant was going through, and she called us up week ago and said thank you. That show helped save my life, as the deputies did at the scene, really was what she was talking about. But that she saw the message we were trying to get out there as far as mental health, and that there is help out there and there is support and people need to seek support, and that really hit home with her. And she called us up to thank us and to thank the deputies for saving her life, because she had a gun in her waistband, and there was a standoff. Obviously the deputies didn't some of them were familiar with the situation, I guess, because she had been out on 5150 calls before, which is mental health concerns. But, her situation could have gotten a lot worse, and the deputies were able to bring her into custody without incident. And she just wanted to let people know that the whole incident happened because she was off her medication. She was prescribed. She had recognized issues, and she knew about them. And then she made the decision to go off her medication. And, she regretted that decision and wanted to make sure she used that experience to let everybody else know that they have to take their medication. If you have mental health issues, there are options out there. You need to seek help, and you need to follow through on that treatment. And it was just really nice to hear that, and to hear the story about, you don't always hear about the outcome. What happens to the person when they get taken into custody. Sometimes we follow the court stories, right? But what is what happens to the person? And so for them to have a really positive outcome, you guys have been on, I'm sure, multiple 5150 calls. So, talk to me about what that's like to, to hear that kind of thing, and then to go through the situation where you have that tense moment in that call, because you don't know what's going on.
Well, when you get the call on your box in the car, you get a quick description of what's going on, and so you already know it's going to be
Something's happening.
Kind of a heated thing when you're going there.
Sure.
So by the time you get there and you contact these people, they a lot of times they're irate, they're upset, so you're already right on trying to calm down, and everything's going to be fine. I just,
Right.
you're not in trouble. I just want to get you some help. I want to take you to the doctor.
You're trying to figure out just what's going on.
Yeah,
the scene,
you just,
right?
and they're upset about whatever, sometimes they're just, they've already taken some pills and it's in their body already. So now you have a time restraint. Now you got to actually get them some help.
And it's interesting you say that, because that was one of the things that Melissa Bryant was talking about, is that a lot of these people, they take the medication to self-medicate, and people think, oh, this person's on drugs, so they're crazy. And the person is actually taking the drugs to help self-medicate or to mask their symptoms.
Yeah.
And that obviously always just makes it worse.
Well, yeah, there's that aspect of it. And,
Sure.
and there's also the aspect of people who feel like they've hit the wall already and they want to commit suicide.
Right.
And they've already taken a whole bottle of Tylenol or a whole bottle of whatever it is they can get their hands on. And that's just in their body cooking. And that's scary, you know, because you got the fire department rolling, but they're not going to go in there until the situation's under control. So it's your job to control that situation as fast as you can without trying to get anyone hurt.
And just making sure it doesn't escalate.
And, you know, and that's the problem, is sometimes, you know that they're having a mental health issue, but they escalate it, and it's not worth you getting hurt over.
Or any public, right?
Any public. So, you know, there's that fine line you got to skate. And then it's just those are the worst calls I think we can go on. You know, it's really scary.
And Doug, from your experience?
Yeah, the intense thing about going to calls like that, when we get a call for someone, you know, if the call is very vague and says person acting irrationally, and from a distance we see this person acting irrationally, someone with anger management issues, someone who's under the influence of some kind of illegal narcotic, or someone who has a legit mental issue, from a distance, they all look exactly the same.
Right.
So really what we have to do is we have to try and detain that person and make them safe so that we don't get hurt, so they don't get hurt. And then from there we can further evaluate, you know, what this person's issues are. So that's the intense part of going into something like that.
And I would imagine the hardest part is just that unknown that you're trying to...
trying to figure out. I mean, why are you so upset? What is going on? And a lot of times they don't want to talk to you.
Right.
They see you and instantly it's, leave me alone. I want to get away from you now. Now I'm already involved. Now I got to, you know.
Right.
I got to do something about it.
And I think that's why it's so important also to, you know, programs like this and the outreach that you guys do, you know, to get out and make that contact so that it's, the first contact with the deputies in a safe environment. It's not, you guys are having to respond to a situation. It's like, yeah, I know that guy. That's Deputy Duxbury. He's a Stevenson Ranch guy, you know, and so when you go out to the scene, hopefully, you know, that helps. I don't know, is that ever a factor in the situation? Because I know that you guys sometimes get repeated calls because, you know, a person has issues and it's not, they don't become removed from society after you handle the issue. They go back into society, and then it happens again.
All we can do is what we're allowed to do. If we notice a problem, we have the right to put you on a 72-hour hold and take you to a doctor who's an actual professional. We're not professionals in medicine. We can't diagnose your problem right there in the street.
Right.
So we take you to someone who can. It's on them. You know, if they come back 3 days later and we're dealing with the same problem,
You'll deal with it
that's
the
not
same.
on our end. I mean,
Right.
we're doing the best we can. You know, that's the doctor needs to.
I just meant from the perspective of that person when they see you the second time, that familiarity. Does that ever help in dealing with that kind of situation?
They'll recognize
you know the person maybe has unstable
I've
issues.
had people say, you know what, I only want to talk to him. Wilson, he was really cool with me. I'll deal with him only. And other deputies will recognize that and be like, all right.
Just because you had that experience
stand
with the
back
person.
and I'm dealing with it. And they're watching, make sure nothing's going to happen. But
Right.
yeah, I got pegged as the good guy, so I'll go talk to him.
Right. Interesting. Well, want to talk a little bit more about what's going on in our community. We have to take a quick commercial break on your Neighborhood Watch, brought to you by All American Bail Bonds on your hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS.